Hello, this is the Camp Insight for Wahsega camp locations, which typically are Classic and Joint Team Leadership Summit. And our goal is to help prepare volunteers for their role while they are at camp. We have a tremendous team of folks who work daily and throughout the year and while on site to make sure that the camps are successful. And that's in addition to the volunteers who play a huge role as well. So Dr. Casey Mull is our Extension 4-H Specialist and 4-H Military Coordinator. He is the leader of our team. Marilyn Huff-Waller is our Logistics Coordinator. Casey Bozeman is a 4-H agent in Liberty County and is also the County Extension Coordinator there. And she has been serving in different capacities over the last couple of years, assisting with making sure that the youth and adults have a tremendous time while at camp. And I am Laura Goss, the 4-H Military Camp Coordinator and your presenter for today. Leadership Summits at Wahsega. So our adults are going to arrive one day prior to the youth. And so if you are an adult leader and you have a youth member that is planning on attending, just know that they too can arrive with you on that day before. We have adults arrive before you so that we can do an on-site training. You can unpack and get ready to really welcome the youth and help at airport day as well as the youth are coming in. Wahsega is located about an hour and a half north of Atlanta in a town called Dahlonega, Georgia. Interesting fact, it's where the gold rush occurred in Georgia, and so there's a lot of neat history there. So we're really proud of being a part of Dahlonega. That site will go actually on site to Dahlonega in the downtown area for some fun one of the days while we're at camp. Contact information. So if you are a former volunteer or this is your first time ever thinking about volunteering at a camp, we do want you to know that you are welcome to reach out to us, whether that's to learn more about the camping opportunity as a volunteer or for a youth member, or just as we get closer to camp and you're already in that volunteer capacity role. So we do use a joint email that all of us check throughout the year, and that is the millcamps@uga.edu. If you have any questions that you want to direct directly to me, you're welcome to do that. My email is listed on the screen. Pre and post camp, we ask that you use our state 4-H office phone number, which is a 706 number. And during camp and on travel days, the best way to reach us is through cell phones, and particularly the Google Voice number is a number that we give out to youth, parents, and volunteers. And that's because a Google Voice number can be used by multiple staff persons to be able to answer the phone calls that are coming in throughout the day. And Casey could pick it up or I could pick it up without an issue. And then also providing my personal phone number as well in case you guys need to reach me. We do want to highlight our funders. This is some of the funders who are supporting some of our Teen Summit camps, and we also have the Department of Defense who also supports camps through our joint partnership with them. But Air Force is a tremendous partner for our Air Force Teen Leadership Summits, while the Department of Defense camps or Department of Defense funds our joint camps as well as our Florida Water Adventure camps. So who makes up the team of leaders that you'll be serving alongside? About 25 to 20 adult leaders, depending on the camp. We have military members, military spouses, whether retired or currently serving, former and present 4-H camp counselors, passionate Georgia 4-H volunteers who wish to participate in this programming as well. We also have UGA extension employees like Casey Bozeman and other staff member who are coming from the county level, serving a week of their summer alongside you all. And we also are fortunate to have military family life counselors on site to help us with any things that might come up emotionally with some youth or hard times or just really great discussions. They can kind of help youth through that. So military life counselors will have about 1 to 2 per camp. Medical and safety at camp we take very seriously. So at our Classic Teen Leadership Summits funded by the Air Force, we will have a nurse on site to administer medicine. At the Joint Reserve Summit that occurs in June, we will have UGA employees who are trained to administer medicine, hand out medicine, and anything medically that goes beyond Band-Aid, soap, water, or prescription medicine that a UGA person cannot handle at the Joint Summit. We will, of course, take them to emergency or urgent care. Counselors are also trained. I always like to point that out so that you know that while serving alongside them at the zip line or rock wall or on a hike, you can also rest assured that they are first aid, CPR, AED, and lifeguard certified, as well as the counselors who serve on the high ropes courses are also going to be certified to actually maneuver those elements. Medication. Medication will be turned in at the start of the camp to the nurse or the UGA employee, so we don't actually ask volunteers to hand out or manage any medication while at camp. We do log and keep track of all medicine that is taken by a youth member, and that goes all the way from being a Band-Aid to their prescribed medicine to Advil. Special diets and allergies. We do like to accommodate everybody's needs as best as we can, and one of the best ways we can accommodate folks is by knowing in advance if there are any special diets or food allergies that youth or adults have. And this can also pertain to religious dietary restrictions as well. So if you have any allergies on the volunteer application, you will notice that we listed a few different slots for you to list, if you have peanut allergy or a fish allergy. If you can go ahead and list that now, we'll create an Excel document and provide that to our kitchen staff. So when you go through the line, they're prepared and have the correct food available to you so that your week is not only fun, but nourishing as well. So travel. We do coordinate all of the travel for our youth and adults to and from camp. So what to expect moving ahead with flight coordination. You will receive an information handout via email that will ask your transportation logistical needs. And you'll receive it once you fill out that application. I'll send that back to you in an email saying what camp you'll be going to, and then also to fill out our travel form. If you are not prepared to fill out the travel form in January due to a TDY that's coming up that you're not sure about, or you haven't finalized family dates, that's fine. Just let us know, and we'll wait for you to get that travel authorization back so that we make sure that we buy the flight according to your needs. We do strive to book those airline tickets to the best that we can according to your needs, and we try to make sure it's accurate. One thing we like to do is always send that confirmation email once the ticket has been bought. We actually have 24 hours to make any adjustments without any fees or change fees. So if you notice anything incorrect with the airline tickets, please just let us know. For Wahsega Camp, you will be flying into Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, or the Atlanta Airport, I should have just said. So you will fly into Atlanta. We'll have a group of folks ready and waiting to pick you up in some UGA vehicles, and we will take you all to the camp location for our on-site volunteer training. Communication. I've already talked a little bit about our numbers, but one number that I have not shared with you just yet is the Wahsega 4-H Center phone number. And this number you can provide to your family, your spouses, or whoever that you want to make sure if they need to reach you, they can get in contact with you. The Wahsega 4-H Center is a landline, and the other two numbers are cell phones. And it's important to note that Wahsega has a landline because cell phone service is not the strongest at Wahsega 4-H Center. Recently, they were revamped, and we're able to add in a Verizon tower near there. So Verizon folks have a little bit better service, but still it's a little spotty. So again, the Wahsega 4-H Center phone number is helpful for landline in reaching in emergency situations. Camp facilities. This is something that youth always like to know about, and if I was volunteering, I'd also like to know what to expect when I'm laying my head down on a pillow at night. So the cabins and bathrooms, living arrangements at the camp, you'll notice on the right-hand side, it is an open style cabin. And so we also have bunk beds as well. We do have the adults have their own bunk bed at camp. You won't be sharing a bunk bed with a youth member. You'll have your own, so you don't actually have to sleep on the top bunk, so don't worry about that. As far as living arrangements go, though, we are going to be with youth and adults, so we do ask that youth and also the adults do not undress in front of each other, just for their safety risk management purposes. There is not a bathroom attached to the cabins, so we do have a bathhouse that includes toilets and showers. So at night, or in the morning rather, too, you can actually walk to the bathroom, take a refreshing shower in the bathhouse, and then park your belongings back at your cabin when you're done. One of the other things to expect while at camp is cleaning. To help kind of keep everything a little orderly, we do have the youth clean up a little bit each night or each morning, depending on what you want to do as a volunteer. And that kind of just keeps everything organized and ready to go. So around camp, we have a recreation facility, which is pictured here in the front of the screen. And that is where a lot of our events are going to happen. All of the youth will go into the rec hall to get organized for classes or to hear a lesson, or it's actually where they'll first register for camp as well. So the rec hall is kind of our main hub at Wahsega 4-H Center. This is a picture of the dining hall on the final night. This is where the youth will eat and the adults as well throughout the week of camp. We do provide lunches, breakfast, and even dinner to all participants. This is the outside of the dining hall and to the outside of the rec hall as well. This is a covered bridge at camp. It's one of great places to kind of sit and hear the water, but also sit and relax under the shade as you watch the youth play. Maybe they're playing basketball, maybe they're playing volleyball off to the side. It's a great place to be while you're at camp. Here are some other fun places. We do have a volleyball court at camp. We have a pond in the center of the facility, a basketball court that you'll often find youth always playing at. And also, we have a waterfall that leads into the creek, and that's fun as well. During recreation time, youth will actually get the opportunity, as you see in the screen, to slide down the waterfall. And depending on how much rain, you can kind of scoot a little faster or slower depending on the lack of the rain. So the schedule does change daily. I just want to highlight this to you so you kind of know a little bit about what's going to be going on per day. So on Monday, we have a great day. We'll start with optional PT, which is physical training in the morning time. The youth will participate in flag raising, breakfast, and then you'll see that on Monday, we have a lot of activities. And those activities could be high ropes, herpetology, a leadership rotation, pioneer class. And so they actually participate in 3 activities by 3:30 on that day. The afternoon times can sometimes change, but typically the afternoon after 3:30 is going to have recreation. One night we might do a slip and slide. Another day we might do a fun all camp activity for the youth. On Tuesday, you'll notice that it's around the same time for wake up, but it's going to be no optional PT on that day because we actually are departing by 8:30 to go to offsite activities. One of the things that we love about the Teen Leadership Summits is that we always get to do an adventure aspect. And so on Tuesday at Wahsega is our adventure day. So we try to get the youth offsite as early as possible so that we can get them to the various locations. And I'll highlight some of those adventure activities momentarily. Adult assignments. So we now know that we have some variety of classes. There's some PT options going on. But what exactly are you expected to do while you are at camp? So adults attend classes, but we don't ask you to teach classes. So we do have trained counselors who will be teaching the classes. So no, you don't have to be an expert on all the reptiles that are in the reptile lab. You can just participate and be a great role model for those youth and help when anything comes up. We'll also ask you to perform some additional activities throughout the week. You might become a supervisor for a dance. You might participate in night tours, just walking throughout the camp to ensure that youth are in their cabins or where they're supposed to be. Supervise during free time, which can sometimes mean just sitting kind of by the basketball court, chatting with some youth or some adults, but also keeping an eye out on what's going on around you. And some other similar tasks, just supervising, helping youth, being a great role model, spending time with them as well. It's something that you can expect while at camp. So adults can lead, attend, or assist optional physical training, which was mentioned previously. So we do have that in the morning times. We've done Zumba, yoga, running, calisthenics, really just depending on the volunteer interest. So if you have something that you love to do at home on a regular basis, you are more than welcome to bring that to camp as well. Last year, we had a volunteer decide that she wanted to kind of plan and implement her own kind of CrossFit class, and it was awesome. And it was so great to incorporate volunteers' ideas and see the youth just have a blast with it as well. We also have an opportunity for volunteers to lead flag raising and lowering ceremonies. And if you are interested in being a part of that process, please just reach out to me and we can talk about ideas and further ways that we can organize that to best fit your ideas on how you want to see the flag raising and lowering occur each day. So here are adventure activities that occur on Tuesday, or throughout the week rather. So one of our big adventure activities is going to occur on Thursdays, and we actually go river rafting, which you see on the left hand of the screen. We like to have high rope opportunities for the youth, so you'll see the youth are at the climbing wall at camp. There's a zip line, and there's some other fun elements too. So on Tuesday, we do a camper choice adventure activity. Previously, these are the 3 activities that we did. So we did a climbing and rappelling activity. So the youth were able to actually climb on a rock face as opposed to climbing on a rock wall. Also, we did a sports day at one of our local state parks where the youth could paddleboard, kayak, swim, do a short hike. And then on the far right, we did a longer hike, and it occurred at Tallulah Gorge State Park, which is one of the top-rated state parks in Georgia. And the youth actually get to travel all the way down to the bottom of the gorge, which is lots of steps and lots of walking. But at the end, you're rewarded with a time of swimming and splashing around in the water to cool off. And then you're rewarded also by the climb back up the mountain as well, or the gorge rather. When do we leave center? So we've kind of highlighted that just a little bit, but one of the great things that youth have highlighted in their surveys is that we're not just at camp. They get to experience things outside of Wahsega 4-H Center. So we leave camp. We'll actually, one time you'll be on a charter bus is when you're actually going to the camp, leaving the airport, and then again later when you're getting back dropped off at the airport. So that's 2 times that you'll leave camp. You'll leave camp for Adventure Day on Tuesday, as well as river rafting trip on Thursday. The cell phone policy. Currently our cell phone policy as of right now is that youth are permitted to have cell phones at Wahsega per the UGA policy and the center policy. Youth cannot use cell phones during classes or activities or when a leader is speaking. So we do try to teach them respect, and we want them to be engaged while at camp. So cell phone service is weak at Wahsega, so typically it hasn't been too much of an issue with youth being on their games or being distracted. But we do ask that volunteers also role model the above policy. So if an adult is speaking in front of the room, we ask that adults and youth are not on their phones. One of the biggest things that adults will most likely be using their phones for throughout the week, and also campers too, is just taking pictures, enjoying the moment, capturing it so that they can share it with families when they get back home. Code of conduct. Code of conduct is for adults and leaders as well as the youth. And we have behavior, and we also have consequences for misbehavior. So behavior, we expect youth and adults to be at sessions when told to be there. We ask that youth and adults are responsible when given request. So if an adult asks a youth to please stop playing on their phone, a youth is expected to stop playing on their phone. We also ask that youth and adults dress appropriately, use appropriate language, and respect others. They may not behave in a manner that affects other participants or other adults in a negative way, may not access inappropriate websites or materials via technology, or bring inappropriate items to the camp. So consequences. So what can happen if the above is not followed? It has to be reported. So if something is going on that makes you feel uncomfortable, or you know that based off of the code of conduct that it is not allowed, then we do ask you to report but not investigate. So you would actually report to a UGA staff person such as myself or Dr. Casey or Miss Casey. And then we would actually follow a course of action according to our Georgia 4-H and University of Georgia policy. So law enforcement. So unfortunately, sometimes the law has to be called for certain things, and those activities might include, but is not limited to, marijuana or other types of illegal drugs, possession or use of a weapon, assault or harassment of another person, whether youth to youth, adult to youth, or vice versa, inappropriate sexual behavior. We have a full description of the code of conduct on the Georgia 4-H website if you'd like to read into it further or understand it further. If you have questions about misbehavior, behavior expectations, or the code of conduct, you're welcome to reach out to me. So report. We do report incidents that occur. So anything that occurs on a University of Georgia property, we will ensure that the right folks are in the know. So again, if you'll report anything that you see that you know is not appropriate, or if you are wondering or on the fence, go ahead and report it to us and we will follow through. Pictures. We love taking pictures because it tells the story way better than me talking, or just sharing stories can be great, but pictures can speak volumes. So adults, we do ask that you take pictures throughout the week, and we'll have a way for you to upload those pictures either during or post-camp, most likely post-camp just due to the internet service while at the site. Code of conduct, just so you are aware, does give permission for youth and adults' pictures to be shared in social media or in use of posters and other uses. So if youth are not allowed to have their picture taken, we will ask them, and they can note that on that form, and we'll make sure to appropriately not share their pictures. Also, one thing that you'll notice in the volunteer camp application is that we want to make sure that we can appreciate you and your time if you end up volunteering with Georgia 4-H. So on that application, you'll actually see a section that asks for military service. So if you're a military member, we want to make sure that your supervisor or commander knows about the great work that you did. So if you'll please make sure that you fill out that portion of the application. In fall, we'll actually send out a thank you letter. So just to kind of wrap up our kind of insight for Wahsega 4-H Center and our camps that will occur there, just want to talk about camp. One thing that you'll probably quickly learn about me once you meet me is that I love anything dessert, but especially icing and cake. So when thinking about camp, I thought it'd be fun to talk about how camp is like cake. So if you'll just think for a moment, how can camp make a difference? And how is camp like cake? Well, in my way of thinking, camp is being together. So at the top of the cake, you'll notice that there are two folks together. One of the greatest things about the military camps is that we bring military youth who are from all over the world, and we bring them together for a week, and they can connect and get to know each other. And this is particularly helpful for those who are reserve and guard, who are not connected to a base, to actually get to know and learn from other military teams just like them. But there are 3 layers to this cake that you see on the screen, and one layer is going to be camp is impactful. It's impactful because emotionally, educationally, youth are making connections. They're learning. They're educating themselves through a variety of ways, not just in the classroom, but sitting on the basketball court or learning how to put their phone away for a week. The next layer is that camp is experimental. So they are pushing themselves to new adventures, and that might be going off of the zip line, but they're also experimentally socially as well, talking to people outside of their comfort zone, or maybe trying one of the dances that the counselors are leading. Camp is branching out of one's comfort zone. It's leaving home, it's flying on an airplane, it's meeting new and different people, and it's even learning at the classes. One of the classes that we'll teach is about reptiles and hurt. So they'll actually be able to hold a snake. And for some youth, that is very out of their comfort zone. But what you'll notice at the camp setting is that camp does magical things and allows youth and encourages youth to try to see how it feels to hold a snake or whatever it might be. And then finally, the last arrow pointing down is that this cake, you can't carry it anywhere unless it's on a platform. So camp is held together and made possible by adults. Dr. Casey, Miss Marilyn, Miss Casey, and I, we could not do camp just with the 4 of us. We rely on adult leaders to be there, to be a role model, to help with classes, to chaperone at nighttime in the cabins, and to provide the feedback and ideas and conversations with youth. We're held together because of the adult leaders making it possible. So helpful tools, just in case you are curious and haven't really volunteered in a youth capacity before, one great way to kind of help youth is to praise them, to give them positive feedback, and to also demonstrate positive behavior yourself. If you're scared to go on the climbing wall, it's okay. Let youth know that you're nervous, but then also show them that just because you're nervous, you can still do it. Positive behavior, positive role modeling. Build confidence in young people. Set them up to succeed by providing the correct tools and or guiding them. If a youth member is unsure of how to connect with other youth, be that person to help them connect. Talk with them over lunch. Be that person. The power of role modeling cannot be overstated. Youth learn from others, whether it's a teen, a youth, a counselor, or a staff member. Role models promote positive behaviors like we've been talking about, and role modeling builds youth confidence, all of the above. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this PowerPoint. I hope that you found it beneficial, and know that I cannot wait to be back at camp at Wahsega so that we can have a blast again, impacting the lives of youth. Thank you so much.